So Pawan has put the recording on. We'll record the session and host it on our Facebook page, Thursday Musings at 8. Pawan has also muted everyone. Only the panelists will be able to unmute themselves. All the questions to the resource person may be typed in the chat box. So let me formally welcome you to this 73rd edition on a very practical topic, of a practical illustration of the topic, and probably we can also use it in our own households. Next slide, please. Let me hand over the stage to Professor Dr. Tufan Pati sir. He's from Cuttack. He's chairman of this program, and he's been guiding us all through this 73 session. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Alim. I welcome to this evening to the 73rd edition. Dr. Alim Siddiqui and Dr. Amrit Patjoshi as the always vibrant, ever known to everyone, moderators of Thursday Musings. Welcome, Amrit and Alim. And I have the pleasure to introduce our chairperson of this evening, Dr. Om Shai Ramesh, who is from New Delhi. He has been working as professor of psychiatry at Lady Hardinge Medical College, New Delhi. He has special interest in child psychiatry and has obtained his PhD in child and adolescent psychiatry from NIMHANS, Bangalore. Before joining Lady Hardinge in 2014, he has worked as a faculty in National Institute of Mentally Handicapped, Secunderabad for 15 years. He has published around 25 research papers in national and international journals. Welcome, Dr. Om Sai. And our other chairperson is Dr. Niska Sinha from Patna. She is assistant professor in the Department of Psychiatry in Indira Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences, Patna. She is MBBS gold medalist and MD Psychiatry from CIP Ranchi. Her areas of interest include community psychiatry, women mental health, consultation liaison, cyber psychiatry, actively participates in conferences, seminars, and awareness programs, media and community settings, in charge of headache clinic and community psychiatry wing at her institute. A lot of interest and specializations. Number of publications, more than 20 publications in various journals. She is currently involved in 7 ongoing researches and 2 ICMR approved projects. And she is a member of IPS, Indian Association of Child and Adolescent Mental Health, and CIP Alumni Association. She is convener of the Transactional Analysis Specialty Section of Indian Psychiatric Society to 2021-22. IPS Bihar State Branch, Journal Representative for Women Mental Health Section, East Zone Indian Psychiatric Society, and past EC member of IPS Bihar State Branch. Welcome, Dr. Niska. Welcome, Dr. Om. From this moment onwards, the proceedings of this meeting is in your hands. We'll be back at the end. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. At the outset, I would like to place it on record my sincere thanks and gratitude to IPS, Odisha State, and organizers of Thursday Musings for giving me and my co-chairperson this wonderful opportunity to be with all of you, and then, go back with enriched with a lot of things from, the speaker of the today. I also would like to congratulate the organizers for choosing such a pertinent topic, that is management of behavioral issues in adolescents, practical illustration. I'm sure all of you, whoever is there in today's evening webinar, will agree if I say that the adolescence is a very crucial period of life. And we know that almost, 1 in 6 persons would be adolescent in general. And half of all mental health problems will be starting during the adolescence, especially depression. Suicide is a major issue. And most of the major psychiatric problems such as schizophrenia, bipolarity, they all will have onset during the adolescence. And if we can appreciate these things and take appropriate measures at appropriate times, probably we will be able to contribute a lot to the patient population. I also believe that this particular group of children, that is adolescents, are also very vulnerable for psychiatric problems for some reasons. Before we start listening to today's speaker, I just wanted to draw your attention to these facts. One is that, this particular adolescence period is something which is they will become very influential by the peer group. They will be very competitive at that particular time. They will be also have issues related to their autonomy, recognition, identity. There are a lot of risk-taking behaviors are very many. And sensation seeking was also very highly seen in that particular time. And their brains are developing at that time. So therefore, they are more prone to have psychological disturbances. And the behavioral problems in this particular group of population needs to be understood very meticulously, and we need to identify them appropriately. So today's speaker, I'm sure she's going to give us an overview as well as the details of this particular topic. And I request my co-chairperson, Dr. Sinha, to speak few words, and then we can request our speaker to start. Over
I
to
also
Dr. Sinha.
simultaneously request Dr. Niska to introduce our speaker. And the CV of the speaker will be displayed by the support staff. And then you can have your introduction remarks.
You have to unmute, madam.
So good evening all. First of all, let me thank Dr. Tufan Pati sir, Dr. Aleem sir and Dr. Amrit sir for organizing such beautiful musings, which is when I was just going through the meaning for musing, it is reflection or thoughts. So it's a very lovely concept, and the whole team has been bringing about beautiful topics have been so beautiful, and they are very useful when it comes to clinical settings. About the topic, I think we have already begun with introduction, and we all know that it is of great interest to all of us when it comes to dealing with practical scenarios in day-to-day clinics. And we have our speaker today, who is a prolific speaker, and she is a well-known personality herself. She's a psychiatrist, Dr. Sukhada Abhiram from Pune. She is first consultant psychiatrist in the country to start the satellite office of Albert Ellis Institute affiliated training center in India. Dr. Sukhada developed interest in practicing CBT and REBT while in her active psychiatric practice under the guidance of her mentor, Dr. Anand Nadkarni, who has been teaching and propagating REBT in the Indian context for more than 3 decades. So that is such an achievement for a psychiatrist, being so active in these fields as well. After completing her advanced certificate practicum from Albert Ellis Institute, New York, Dr. Sukhada now also functions as head the beautiful mind, the satellite office of Albert Ellis Institute, ATC India, based at Institute for Psychological Health. Dr. Sukhada has gained valuable insights in application of CBT, REBT at different stages of mental health, namely disorder, distress, and development, which are reflected in her modules and training programs, like ABCD of REBT, Master Magician I Baba, Inner Horizons, Password Anandacha, Password for Happiness, and many more. She is also into corporate training, using principles of REBT regularly while working with clients with like Reliance, Siemens, Cipla, Bharat Petroleum, etc., to name a few. So not wasting time, I would like to invite her and listen to her deliberation, and which I'm sure would benefit us all. So I'd like to invite Dr. Sukhada Abhiram for her deliberations. Dr. Sukhada, I think she needs to unmute herself.
Yes, I was just unmuted. Thank you so much, Niska ma'am. Thank you and good evening, everyone. Aleem sir, with your permission, should I start?
Yes, please, madam. Yes,
Dr. Tufan Pati sir's permission.
Tufan Pati sir's permission.
Yes, please, madam.
Okay,
This
sure.
session is yours. You can start.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, a very warm good evening to everybody, and Good to meet you all for the second time on this platform. And today we have chosen a very interesting topic, that is dealing with behavior issues in adolescents. Now, as all of us being psychiatrists, we have to deal with children, adolescents, as well as young adults every day in our practice. Now, as we all know, pharmacotherapy is just one side of it. And the other side, while dealing with either children or adolescents, it starts right from their entry, because most of them are being brought. So even in adults, we know that many of them do come unwillingly to us because of the stigma associated, because any kind of mental illness or issue is seen as a weakness in our society, and this is still very, very rampant here. With children and adolescents, it is more frequent. Children, because partially they are not aware because of their developmental gradient, because of their egocentricity. Let's not go into the developmental aspects right now. But yes, in adolescence, there is an added issue that because of their rising individuality, they tend to see that all the problem is there in the world around us, starting from their parents to their teachers, to their peers, to the country, government, everything, except for themselves. So here, how do we bring an adolescent on the table? I was just talking to Alim sir, and I asked whether it would be okay if I don't go into the theory part, because all of us are practicing psychiatrists. We are well versed with the theory. If not, we can definitely open the book and grab some points. But what I need to do today is give some demo, some practical insights onto how to connect with the adolescent, because if they are being brought, if they are defensive, if they are not compliant, then how do we establish a therapeutic alliance? So the behavior issues, maybe we'll take a couple of them, but even before jumping on directly to the behavioral issues, I would like to start with setting the stage. Unlike adults, adolescents need to have this confidence that this person understands me. So they are not sure of themselves, however they may portray, however strong they may portray themselves, but yes, internally we all know that they are shaken. So how do we build this base of trust and of a healthy therapeutic alliance? That is point number one. Second is not just therapeutic alliance, but helping the adolescent take ownership in the process. Because many times we see that because the parents have brought them, and due to some XYZ pressure, they do sit in front of us. They take medicines for the things given. But we all know the importance of mind and emotions in even the medicines for them to act. So unless the adolescent is there with me on the same page, he shares the goal with me of his own personal development in the process, things do not go that well, and it has a direct impact on the prognosis of the child. So what is important is the first thing, that right from the point an adolescent enters our room, what should we be observant about? Many a times, small body language cues, like raising our brow, it might give the adolescent a hint or something which matches the looks his parents have given him, or some other elders in the society have already thrown at him. Now, suppose during my first meeting itself, if I do give him that kind of a gaze, what will that interaction, how will that interaction start? What will be the base of that interaction like? So a simple gesture or change of posture, being very, very aggressive, as we all know that this is an aggressive posture of my palms as compared to this, which is an open posture, a more welcoming and honest posture. So small gesture, expressions on face, this is something that I need to be very, very careful about. Alim sir, you've raised your hand.
Yeah. Do we want to do this topic in two parts, because establishing rapport, as we talked, is a huge task in itself. So
I'm open if
yeah, because I think if we dedicate this session more towards the rapport formation, and if you are available, if you are able to take some time for us, we'll discuss management proper in another session.
Sure, sir. So let's continue with this session and we'll see how many cases or demos are we able to take, and let's decide it at the end of the
Yeah.
session.
Thank you.
Great, sir. Sure. Okay. So continuing that part, that first is my expression, my gesture. Second is my body language. Third is my attitude. So how do I present to the child? I can be either authoritative, which again will take me closer to the parental role, or I can be too emotional and soft just to show the child that, okay, I'm on your side. But trust me, adolescents, they don't like anybody who tries to get too close to them during their first visit, and they'll try to run away from us all the more. So this is a very delicate balance between being authoritative, not authoritarian, of course, authoritative, and not being emotionally overwhelming. It is all about respecting their personal space. At the same time, when we are actually trying to go or get into their personal spaces. So respecting their boundaries all the time, showing a non-judgmental acceptance. So we all know, we have been through adolescence, be it some issues with our body image, our relationship, our individuality, our skills. We think we know everything, but internally somewhere all of us knew that na kuch nahi pata hai abhi to. Where do we stand? So internally they are already in a turmoil. Let me not add to it. So being absolutely non-judgmental, open and welcoming, and not overwhelming at the same time is something that we need to be careful about. One more thing that I have personally observed in my practice is I need to be aware of what are the things in social media, in music, in movies or series right now that currently adolescents are inclined to. I remember when this series Game of Thrones had just come and how adults had taken it. Na ki Game of Thrones matlab pura ban kar dena chahiye na. It's all nudity, it's all blah blah blah. And children and adolescents, especially young people, are watching it and getting addicted to it and blah blah blah. But now, just speaking of it clinically, whether we like it or not, young generation is seeing all the series that is available. If I can take help of it in giving my adolescent a perspective on life, on a healthy mental framework, nothing like that. So I remember that although parents have always looked at it as a bad series, as a bad influence on their children, just giving them examples of what we are trying to say through characters which they love in these series, or connecting through them through their favorite sports, their football teams, the music album they are interested into, just having a good amount of knowledge as to what is happening currently helps them connect with us better. So a couple of things, if I just go out of my way, just as we do it with our own children, कि एक टाइम था जब निकलोडियन आता था तो हम निकलोडियन की बातें करते थे, फिर उसके बाद छोटा भीम आया तो बच्चों के साथ छोटा भीम के एग्जांपल्स लेते थे. So with adolescents also, we need to be open with all these things. The more we are open, the better is our connect. I remember one adolescent who had come to me, headphones लगा के आया था और इतना जोर से म्यूजिक चल रहा था that मुझे सुना ही आया कौन सा गाना सुन रहा है. And he was not even willing to remove his headphones while talking to me. And I just said, wow, I too like this song very much, especially the first para. And I just uttered the words of the first para. And he was like, just a minute. Are you telling me you hear this band? And I was like, yeah, I do. A couple of times I've heard it and I really found it interesting. And that was it. That just triggered an instant connect between the two of us. So without being judgmental about their choices, just attributing some of their clothing styles, their hairstyles, and their likes, dislikes to their developmental gradient, we can set ourselves apart from the category of their parents, which they are running away from, as well as later in the part we'll see, we can also take a position of authority while giving them some of our advices regarding medicines or maybe psychotherapy. So these were just a couple of lines regarding general hygiene, which we psychiatrists need to practice before dealing with adolescents. And now let us go on to directly to demos. Tofanpati sir, is this okay if we directly start with demo sessions?
I think it will be better.
Right.
Practical illustrations. We are looking
Great.
for what?
Yeah, the volunteers can raise their hand so that we can make them co-hosts.
Yeah, whoever wants to be the client here.
Okay, Valari is there.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, welcome, thank you. Over to you, Shukla.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Valerie, shall we begin?
Sure.
Okay. So, Valerie, you'll be portraying the adolescent client today. Would you like to give us some background of yourself
Sure. So
before we
basic-
start the session?
Okay, so my personal background.
No. As to what case you will be portraying today in the
Sure.
session?
Yes. So today I'll be portraying 12th or college going young student who has been forced by the parents to come for this session. Basically, they have seen me with my friends smoking around, and so now they have become very skeptical, and they've brought me here to get treated.
Get treated and all clean, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you are doing engineering first year or so, or whatever. I mean, you are in college and they have got you smoking. Let's even take a year that is a bit more junior. We can say 9th or 10th. That would be more worrisome for the parents.
Sure. 10th.
And
Okay.
as you are saying, you have been brought against your wishes, so you won't be very, very cooperative with me, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, welcome, Valerie. Right, so let us start with the session now. Okay, so good evening, Valerie. Please have a seat. So I just had a word with your parents right now. And would you like to know what their concerns are?
I just know it.
Mm-hmm.
They have like huge complaints, and it's like that. It's all about me, how I am bad and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should just say whatever you want to say, then I can go.
I take whatever you're saying, and I understand that whatever has happened, that they have brought you here without talking things out with you, or maybe without having that clarity with you, and that might be a bit upsetting. I can totally understand that, Valerie. But you know what? Unlike what you said, that it's all bad about you, out of approximately 20 minutes that your parents spoke with me, 18 minutes, जो शुरुआत के थे ना, they talked about what a good person you are. And then probably for them it was a shock when they saw you smoking. And then the last 2 minutes about, but you know what, we saw her and this age and we are concerned about her safety and XYZ. I'm sure when you say that they would always say bad things about me, there might have been a precedence to it where they might have complained about you to you yourself, or maybe somebody else. Would you like to throw some light on it?
I don't think they have said anything good about me. I think I know it. They cannot say it.
Mm-hmm.
They've just brought me here because they think it's something wrong I've done, or I don't know. It's a big issue to them.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to really hear what their concerns are, or what we spoke right now?
I don't know. Like, I know most of it.
Okay, I again respect whatever you're saying, and I'm sure it is coming out of some kind of experience that you had. But Valerie, because now you are here and we are talking, see, I would like to treat you as an adult. You are not a kid anymore. That just your parents brought you here and you are sitting in front of me and I'll give you some sort of lecture on good and bad and morality and stuff. That is not our goal here. In contrast to what you're saying, please mark my words, in contrast to what you're saying, your parents, both of them, really talked highly of you when it came to your intellect. That how sharp you are in picking up things, your memory, your grasping, that it's how it's very, very good. They also talked about your hardworking ability. That जो भी आपने decide किया है ना, you know, when you decide on doing something, you have always done it. So you are a person who is kind of headstrong in a good way, who puts in effort, who doesn't mind going the extra mile in her hard work. So that is again a very, very good thing, which I'd like to share you, Valerie. We don't get to hear about teenagers very, very oftenly. Most of the parents come with scholastic difficulties, not studying, then all the time on mobile, but that were none of them were their issues. So they talked highly of you when it came to the clarity of your mind, your decision making. She knows what she wants. But now see, as we all know, there are two sides to the same coin. On one side, you know clearly what you want. That is a very good thing about you. But if that clarity or that decision also happens about something that is unhealthy, as a parent, it got them worried. So I'm again not saying that whatever you have done or have been doing is wrong. Again, let's not bring morality in right here. But I would just like to make use of this time to connect with you better as a human being. I would just like to know about what you are, what your life goals are, what you would like to do, just something about you.
But then are my parents okay about it? Like, I know they just saw me, they were angry, and it was like whole 2 nights of huge fight. It's all about they just saw me, so like everyone does it. So I don't think they have got me for some other reason. It's purely I know it.
Yes, as far as their concerns are concerned, you are right. They have brought you for a particular reason, which is inside their heads. But as I said, my agenda is not only give some corrective measures, जैसे ना गाड़ी बिगड़ गई हो मैकेनिक के पास ला, इधर से ठोका इधर से पीटा और बेच दी गाड़ी. That is not my goal. My goal is to see to that car holistically as a car, its make, its engine, what is the beauty of it, what is the individuality of it, what are the USPs of it, and help it run better and smoother along its journey. So maybe one or two behaviors that your parents are worried about is a small problem somewhere in the car. It's a dent somewhere that we will talk about once you are comfortable talking about it. But I am sure that if you see a car with a dent, would you stop calling it a car and start calling it a dent?
That's what I was telling them, right?
Yeah. Valerie, this is the emotional part. Now let's talk about it. That when we get anxious or panicky about something, that thing becomes bigger in front of us. That thing grows irrationally, although, but yes, it grows at times beyond proportions. Have you experienced anxiety anytime in your life?
Like, I feel bad, I feel anxious when they compare me, or like that day when they saw me and I knew when I'm going to come back home, it's going to be huge drama.
So you know what anxiety is like.
Yeah, but I think they should first hear, or like I've not murdered someone and come on.
I hear you.
So I just want that, like I'm not saying that smoking is right or taking drugs is right, but I'm not doing it every single day, or it happened and it's like the same time they saw me. So, but apart from that, it's like they always have issues with me. Just smoking is one thing now they have it, they're using against me, but they're like always, I don't think they think any good of me.
I hear you. Valerie, can we just keep your parents aside for next couple of minutes? And would you be comfortable talking about your own self as a person? Because I don't see you, as somebody who has really committed a crime or has done somebody's murder. Yes, I understand that adolescence is an age where the tendency to experiment is high, impulsivity is high, and you are in an age where you understand all these things. I had to have been through adolescence, so I know there is peer pressure. We want to try out new things. Thrill seeking is also high in this age. So instead of, again, as you rightly said, putting things into black and white, good, bad, right, wrong, we can just talk about things maybe in a healthy perspective.
Maybe.
Will it be possible for you to just keep your parents out of this picture for maybe next 10 minutes or so? And now, if that is the case, I would like to hear from you, whatever you want to tell me.
Regarding what?
Regarding whatever, regarding your life, what are the things you are looking forward to? What are the issues you are facing, if any? And if at all you feel that yes, some things are not going wrong or as expected, or you might benefit from a professional, I'm open to everything.
So basically, I'm studying in 10th standard, and overall studies are okay, going quite good, I can say. But I'm just not very sure what I'm going to do ahead. Like, I know areas I'm good in, but still, what stream I'm going to choose, I'm not very sure. But I don't know, like for me, things seems to be okay.
So with your academic performance, you are comfortable with it?
I can improve on it, but sometimes just I just get irritated with everything, and then I don't want to do things. So I don't know, like
it probably is just like Corona, na? When all of the world is talking about Corona, we feel like running away ki Corona ki baat nahi sunni hai. So whole world around you might be only and only talking about your 10th and your boards and stuff.
Yes. Like every family dinner is like that. Everyone seems to ask me the same question, and I don't have a fancy answer for it. So maybe they're not happy.
Okay, understood. So this is regarding your academics, of course. How about your emotional life? How are you as a person in terms of your personality? What are the emotions that you frequently are into?
Mostly, I'm okay overall the day, but I think sometimes nowadays I've become more irritable or angry. So I don't like doing it, but like I just do it. So like someone tells me or someone don't agrees to me, so I don't like that. I get angry, then I feel sorry. Sometimes I cry, but else it's okay.
Valerie, has this been a part of your nature or this is a pretty recent?
It's pretty recent. It was like till 8th, it was not like that. From last year, I don't know, like many things are changing. And I don't know, I just get so irritated even on myself, with my friends, on anything.
Any particular contributions you see which contribute or act as triggers for this emotional outbursts or irritability?
I think if someone tells me to do something, I get very irritable.
Okay.
Even if I have decided to do it, but if someone tells me or just pushes me, so I don't know, I just lose it. I don't like it, even if I know I was supposed to do it. But at that particular time, it is like I can't. I just feel so angry and I just want to push back things.
So yes, somebody around pushes your buttons.
Yes.
And
I just don't like it. Now I just feel that everyone should do their own business and not to tell
so
me.
probably again, this is a difference in perception that as you are growing, your individuality is growing, you require trust from people around you that let me decide from my own. But maybe people around you are still into the habit of deciding for that little Valerie as they maybe used to do a couple of years back, and probably that is causing some disturbance here.
Yeah, but then they, like, people around me always wanted me to grow up. So if now I don't know why they have a problem.
Agreed. So this does happen that we just remain stuck into our roles at times, right?
Yes, it feels suffocated, you know.
Getting you. I can.
Yeah. It's very irritating, uh, and I've seen like many of my friends, they are not bothered. They do their stuff and no one tells them or no one asks them. But with me, like things to what I've read, to what I've listened, how I sit, like everything, everyone has a problem, I suppose.
Valerie, I'm observing a very interesting thing. That yes, although you are distressed, although you are stressed out with the things that are going on around you, you are getting disturbed. See, I shouldn't be saying this with a smile on my face, yet I'm expressing this because the very fact that you are getting disturbed and you don't want this still shows me that you are bonded with your parents. You are connected with the people around you and you want things around you to be healthy. Because some teenagers I've seen, they just don't care. Parents बोलते हैं बोलने दो, जिसको जो करना है करने दो. I don't care. They don't get disturbed. But the very fact that you are getting disturbed tells me that you care.
But then that is my problem, right?
Can we not label it as a problem? Can we just say this is Valerie?
But that is not helping me. Like as you said, people, my friends don't care. Like they get 10 calls from their family. But if like I miss a call or something, I know that I have to go back and answer for that, not taking up.
Do you really feel that this humanness in you is really a bad thing?
Not sure.
let's dive into that, because see, as we just said, instead of going or categorizing everything into right, wrong, black, white, let us talk about in words like appropriate, inappropriate, helpful, unhelpful. So maybe you being sensitive is helpful, but at times when you become too sensitive, it is unhelpful, and we can work on that rather than just totally scraping off that sensitivity compartment from your head.
But how I know that this is appropriate and this is not?
That is what I'm here for. Okay, definitely we'll talk on to this. Before going on to that, Valerie, can you tell me what are the activities that you generally do for relaxing?
I like dancing and music, dancing. I think that is something which I enjoy.
Great. Nice to hear about this part about you, and I would also like to know more about what you do and what are your interests. But one thing that just came to my mind is that see, whenever we are stressed, all of us have our own coping mechanisms for it. Some of us have intellectual coping mechanism that we use our brain somewhere, we get into it, and unless that problem is solved, we just keep deep into it, and then we feel okay. Some of us are more emotional. We talk it out to somebody, we share, maybe we watch a movie, we feel good about it, or we feel relaxed. Some of us are more inclined towards the behavioral side. Some of us are more of doers. So maybe we go for a run, we dance. So we do some kind of a physical activity to de-stress ourselves. Now, for all these activities, be it intellectual, emotional, or behavioral, Valerie, there are two categories to all our coping strategies. Some of our coping strategies can be universally termed under healthy and some under unhealthy. Can you think of a couple of healthy and unhealthy coping strategies that adults usually do?
Like my parents.
Not only your parents. Get out of it for a while.
Like,
Hmm?
can you give an example?
What are the healthy coping strategies you have seen adults around you using whenever they are stressed out?
So, like, like I've seen my grandmother. So I think she uses all worshipping things whenever she's upset, and then she's graceful even she gets angry when she gets angry. So I think that is one thing. I don't know, is it a coping strategy or not, but I know for sure that whenever she gets angry or she's upset, she does more of a chanting, like she has that mala. So, but and or like my sir, he reads a lot. Yeah, he reads a lot. Like he has his fixed routine, and then if he's angry on even on us if we are not doing something, then he'll just try to finish a book in a week or something. So I think that helps him.
So your sir is probably using an intellectual coping strategy. Your grandmother is using an emotional and behavioral strategy that helps her gain peace. Why did you categorize these two things into healthy coping strategies?
Because when they do these things, no one is affected. Like, and they are also happy, like they come out of it, right? They are not agitated, they are not irritable while they are doing those things. And maybe it helps them to come out what they're upset about. So they, like I get very angry, so I try to bang things, I want to throw things, and I just hate everything. So
today you see me sitting in this chair as a doctor, but had you seen some kind of a video recording of my adolescent, you have probably questioned your parents, is this the female you want to take me to? This female? So this was a bumpy ride for me too. Coming back to the point, you said that the earlier strategies were helpful or healthy. Why? Because point number one, it helped those people cope with their unhealthy or irritability emotions which were unhealthy for them, the stress which was unhealthy for them, and those strategies were not harmful because neither did those strategies do any damage to others, and more importantly, it did not do any damage to themselves. Right? Now, can you think of a couple of strategies which again we all do for coping which are unhealthy?
playing games.
Playing games, okay, why would you label it as unhealthy?
Like when I know that I should be sleeping, but when I'm angry, just to make a point, I play games, and I know that I have a difficult day next day. But then I like doing it.
Great. So when it sabotages with your goal, it interferes with your healthy routine or lifestyle, okay, you can label it as unhealthy. Okay, any other example?
If you hurt someone physically or yourself.
So probably when you lose control over your emotions, especially emotions like anger, and in that throw things, hurt somebody, that again will come under unhealthy coping. That although after doing it, that energy does get relieved, but in a very, very unhealthy way. As you might have also observed, some people gamble, some people drink, and when it goes to the level of addiction, when it uh, crosses that level wherein that person is harmful to himself or his family, then again we call it unhealthy coping. Now see, my role here is very, very simple. As you have entered your adolescence and as you are entering into this world of competition around you, it has already started as we just discussed. 10th, people around, expectation, the changes in your journey versus the journeys around you. I'm sure there would be patches that would be extremely sensitive, critical, at times pressurizing and stressful. And here, Valerie, as a very, very normal human being, you will have choices of coping in both ways, some appropriate ways and some inappropriate ways. Trust me, you wouldn't be very, very happily choosing the inappropriate ways, but at times it happens so fast and so much on a deeper level that we realize things later on. Okay. Now, please don't connect this to any of the thing, or don't take it in a way that I am thinking that you might be doing wrong. It's not the case.
But you are getting there, like you said that drinking thing, because you want me to tell that. But I'm not smoking every day.
Again, I am not onto your smoking yet. We have just talked about inappropriate and appropriate ways of coping. When you say that you have just tried smoking and you don't do it every day and etc., I take it. Okay. And I haven't even asked you that how many days are you, since how many days are you smoking, how much do you smoke or whatever. My point is very, very simple. In your journey, which you have just begun, there would be moments of stress, pressure, and alike. There would be stress from others, but please note, Valerie, very, very importantly, in your future, you will be experiencing stress generated by your own self because of your own expectations from yourself that you wouldn't be able to meet, because of some self-set standards that we fight or struggle reaching to. And now all of us require coping strategies for this. Again, it might not be the case right now, but maybe 6 months down the line, maybe a year down the line, you might feel the need to regulate yourself better so that your car runs smoothly with a good average, and make sure that it reaches the destination which you want to reach, right? So in this process, again, don't make the dent equal to the car. One of your behavior, I look at it as a dent, but I see the whole picture. I'm looking at the car, not the dent. All right. You might have one dent, you might have 4 dents. Your parents might also be having their own dents. Everybody of us come with dents. And all of us need certain things, certain tools, certain strategies to not let these dents define us in any way. Are you with me till here? Your problem, let us not label it as a very big problem or a very huge problem to begin with. You know, some cars, they do come with a breakdown. Engine mein hi problem hai. Do you think yours is the case कि engine ही खराब है? No. Let's keep it as a dent, and keeping it a dent, let us start working on what you are interested in. If you are comfortable, you can express any other issue, you know, in your car. Maybe the tire is worn out. Maybe the mats need to be replaced. It can be as silly as that, but it's important, right? So I am here to help the car do its best driving. Are you open to this journey with me?
I think so.
Sleep over it. I'm not saying this is the only thing that needs to be done or there is some fault in you and it needs to be immediately corrected. I just want to think of you to think of this journey in the long run. And for whatever dents and scratches and oiling issues and XYZ issues you have, just remember that I am here, who is not judging you, who is not looking at you or equating you with a single dent in one of your parts. Okay, so whenever you feel that the pressure around you is increasing, something internally needs to be managed in a better way, and that too for your own progress. Okay, I'm not saying because your parents are saying to do so. Your parents,
They will not come with me, right? I'll come.
they would probably come with you if you are they need to drop you or pick you up, but I'll be having separate sessions with your parents and I'll be having separate sessions with you. I need to work with them for their anxiety as well, don't you think so? I would
Yeah.
also like to hear from you regarding how are your parents, how are their natures. Probably next time when you meet me, you can help me for understanding your parents better. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay. So Valerie, next time whenever you come, make sure that you come up with a specific thing that you would like to learn more about. Okay, so that we can keep the session quick and you two can run back to do whatever that helps you relax, make good use of your time. And then again, the things which are routinely there are of course going to be there with you.
Sure.
Are we on the same page?
Yeah.
Okay, Valerie, would you like to tell me something now about this interaction, any concerns that you have or anything?
Like, I don't know, like you're going to tell, like once I'm out, what should I tell my parents? Like they're going to ask me what you said to me.
You tell me. I'd like to hear.
Like we had a normal talk. Yeah.
And what are we meeting for the next time?
Like one thing which just came into my mind, I'm not so sure about it, but I think like when I decide things but I just don't do it. Like I know I want to do it, but I still, even if like I plan, but like for example, I say I have to get up tomorrow at 5 o'clock to study, but then I'll just turn off the alarm and sleep. So I don't know, maybe if you can help me with that or not.
Are you going towards procrastination or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Whatever you feel is going to help you in your journey right now, I am open to it. Okay. Rest, I would also talk to your parents about you being a car and help them how to look at you more holistically. Okay. And let us do a goal setting before starting every session and let's see how it proceeds.
Okay, but can you just tell my parents that like I'm not bad? I know they don't like me smoking, but it just happened.
I'll have sessions with your parents as well. You are not alone here.
Okay.
And as I said, next time I would also like to hear from you about the natures of your parents. I would like to know about them better as two human beings.
Yeah, they're nice.
Okay. Something more specific, maybe we can catch up during the next session.
Sure.
Okay. Valerie, anything that you specifically need from me right now? Or we are good till here?
No, I think that.
Okay. So please take the appointment according to your convenience for the next time. I'm sure today you are not prepared and I don't want these sessions to be a burden. Already you are going through so much of different pressures. So let this not be adding to that. Rather, let this be a vent out where you can get empty of the pressurizing things and fill yourself up with more helpful things to run smoothly for the rest of your way. Okay, so please take appointment according to your convenience, your classes, your schedule, whatever, and I'll have a word with your parents as well.
Sure.
Okay, really a pleasure meeting you.
Okay.
Looking forward. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Valerie. Tofan Pati sir, so we of course did not go into the psychotherapy part in detail, or maybe the
No.
part wherein it comes to the diagnosis, because this was the first session. My agenda was very, very simple: to make a safe space for the adolescent so that she comes here again, because that is the most important part, to gain trust of that child, that this is a safe place where I can go, where I can express, and somebody is there who can guide me in a neutral way. So we have just talked about this, and waiting to hear from you, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Sukta. This has been a fantastic first session with any adolescent or any person. And I take this chance to compliment Ballari. She has played herself excellently well. Compliments.
Yes.
So for some time, if one does not know, one will think you are really a peasant.
Sure.
And in this short frame, you will look like a school student. Right. So this is a good psychoeducation, good introduction, and winning the confidence of the client, as well as going for the second session. How do you plan the rest of the time? We will discuss on this. Because as we had, as Ali was telling, and we had thought earlier, other parts we can have in another session, other schematic parts.
Whatever, we can either have question answers right now and have the next session next month, or if there are no question and answers, we can have another, if the time permits, of course. Whatever you suggest, sir.
So what will be the time you will take if you want to do a session now? The next
Sir,
session.
it depends on what the client presents. Now I would not be aware of that.
Yeah, I
But
think
40 minutes,
another
30 to
9
40
o'clock.
minutes.
So we can take few questions and then maybe have another session. Like what Alim was
I
telling.
think, yeah, I think that would be better.
Better
So,
thing.
so in this session, we just
Alim, you can take questions on this session today. It was fantastic.
yes, sir, yes. We'll take questions on this.
Next. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll
There are quite a good questions in the chat box also. You can take them.
sure, sir. So we'll carry on this session as a part 2 next month also. We'll discuss some questions now. Sukata, may I start by asking you what exactly did you do in this session? How did you proceed? Can you summarize your session?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thanks for the opportunity once again. And what we started with was, see, the client had come and she had all sorts of judgments and prejudices about her parents, and they were pretty rigid, that they can't utter a single good word about me. You know, they are all biased about me. And how much ever we love our kids, somehow their perception does become like that someday, that, you know, my parents only see flaws in me, or that kind of stuff. So first, the thing which I started with was, although she was not very happy and welcoming to me, I just let her know that there can be an other side to the story. So we just started with expanding the horizons of perspective, which is very, very important for children and adolescents. As we all know, as psychiatrists, as mental health professionals, children and adolescents tend to have a tubular vision. They tend to look at things like this, and they only trust or focus on the things that they see through this tunnel vision of theirs. So we can always begin with showing them the other side of the story. They might take it well, they might not take it well. Then the next step, the major part of this was, I used the Rogerian approach, which is the client-centric approach, that I tried to bring her onto the point that this is for you. So initially, whatever she was talking about the parents, I gave it a patient hearing just because she feels heard. That was the only point. I did not contradict, I did not ask too much of questions. I just kept hearing, because that helps the client loosen up a bit. Initially, she was just not willing to talk, and later on, she came up with many stories. Then the client-centric approach helps us to see the client holistically and not only as a problem, which is generally complained about us doctors, like they only look at the disease. ये कैंसर है, ये ट्यूबरक्यूलोसिस है, ये मलेरिया है, ये XYZ है. So taking a client beyond that, this is something, sir, that I have seen from one of my seniors, very, very senior, named Dr. Asgaonkar in Mumbai. He's a diabetologist. What sir used to do in his early years of practice was, as a diabetologist, hundreds of people came to him every day. जब भी कोई सर के पास आता था ना, सर उसके नाम से शुरू करते थे. और मैंने तो बस कुछ दिन सर को ऑब्जर्व किया था, वो बोल पेशेंट हैड कम फॉर फॉलो अप आफ्टर 3 months, और सर ने आते बराबर शुरुआत की, हाँ जो बेटे के लिए रिश्ता देखा था क्या हुआ, हुई बात पक्की. I was like ये कोई VIP क्लाइंट होगा, सर को पहचान का होगा, बट देन आई रियलाइज कि वो हर क्लाइंट के साथ ऐसा कुछ करते थे. I was intrigued कि इतना कैसे याद रहता है कि अरे बच्ची 10th में है ना, कैसी चल रही पढ़ाई, अरे तुम्हारे घर का क्या हुआ, अरे तुम्हारा प्रमोशन ड्यू था ना. तो what he used to do is वो अपने इसमें लिख लेते थे कहीं. फॉलो अप के दौरान ही used to ask the client ना कि क्या चल रहा है, तो बता ही देता है क्लाइंट कि ये चल रहा है सर, अभी ऐसा है. He used to make a note of it in 2 words. और नेक्स्ट टाइम जब क्लाइंट आता था ना, ये शुरुआत ही उसी से करते थे. बस वहीं पे क्लाइंट ना आधा तो सर का हो जाता था कि यार ये बंदा अपना है, इसको सब पता है अपनी हिस्टोग्राफी. So seeing the client beyond his limited diagnosis is what the Rogerian approach tells us, that yes, you are an individual and I look at you as a car, and then काफी बार मैंने रिपीट किया just so that she gets out of the thing कि ना मुझे ऐसे ऐसे देख रहे हैं. So फिर Rogerian approach यहाँ पे हमने यूज किया. And then what I tried to do was, from her parents' goal, I tried to shift her to her personal goal. Now, unless until I give something to the client which interests her, she is very unlikely to stick to me. No adolescent will come to me because it makes his or her parents happy. जबरदस्ती आके बैठने वाले बहुत है, but change doesn't occur because me and my client are not on the same page. So later on, we just saw that unless until I complement my the parents' goal with her own goal, generally this doesn't happen. So it was not one particular therapy, and of course we did not use a particular therapy like CBT or REBT because this was just the primary introductory session. Maybe that we can start or give a demo during the next session.
Sugdha, I want to ask you a question. We have a lot of parents who bring their kids, adolescent kids, who don't want to come to the chamber. Once they get in, they want to get out. They're just searching for one small thing to get out.
Right.
A lot of kids who come out. Initially, in my initial practice, I would sometimes get a little angry because they will tell something that this is not this, and they'll throw it on your face. But then I started realizing that they're using it as a pretext to see this doctor is like this. So how do we handle such people who really don't want to sit there? It was an easy conversation which you had because you had a very, very cooperative patient who was, let me be honest with you. It's very fine. It's like a
Sure, sir. So I'll just share, sir.
Yes. So how do we handle such kids and people with substance abuse? Kids. How do we manage that? And the second question I'll ask you: how do we manage the parents and the kids? यहाँ आएंगे तो कोई और कंसल्टेंट के पास चले जाएंगे, इसके पास जाएंगे तो मतलब that sometimes the balance it's very, very tough. So
true. Sir, answering your first query कि पहले तो non-cooperative बच्चे, what I did in earlier years of my practice is मैंने अपने दरवाजे के पीछे एक बोर्ड लगा रखा था छोटा सा और उस पे लिखा था वेट. एंड ये वेट सिर्फ मुझे वेट नहीं बताता था, तो ये वेट का फुल फॉर्म था. वेट का फुल फॉर्म आई एम श्योर ये हमें सबको हेल्प करेगा अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ में भी. वेट ये एक्रोनिम स्टैंड करता है फॉर व्हाई एम आई टॉकिंग. सो एज एक्सपर्ट्स इन आवर फील्ड हमको सब पता होता है ना कि इसको क्या हेल्प करेगा, इसका डायग्नोसिस ये है, इसको इससे बेनिफिट होगा. एंड एट टाइम्स वी बिकम वेरी वेरी ईगर to help the client when the client is not in a position to receive help. मतलब हम लाख किसी को देना चाहिए, किसी कोई लेने की willing ही नहीं है, तो we cannot give. So point number 1 is don't talk. बच्चे को बात नहीं करने ना, हमने भी बात नहीं करनी. We just sit there, let the child sit there and experience that even this is allowed here. Just empathize with a single sentence ki yes, I know you are not happy to come here or you don't wish to talk with me right now, take your time. तो जब भी हम acceptance देते हैं ना किसी को भी, वहीं से थोड़ा थोड़ा चेंज होना शुरू होता है. तो पॉइंट नंबर 1 इज वी नॉट गोइंग इनटू दैट हरी ऑफ being the mechanics or being all the problem solvers. ये एक चीज. सेकेंडली हमने जब बच्चे को स्पेस दिया ही है तो उस वक्त हमारी टेंडेंसी क्या होती है ना, हम सबकी, हम ही रेस्टलेस हो जाते हैं. वी टेंड टू बिकम फिजेटी. मोबाइल ही देख लेंगे, घड़ी देखेंगे 4 बार जस्ट टू शो कि मैं तेरे लिए ना कितना कर रहा हूँ. यहाँ पे गड़बड़ हो जाती है. So we ourselves sabotage what we are trying to gain here. So next important statement which again I have used in my personal life is, whenever a client comes to me, I start with one single question to myself: who is the most important person in this world right now? And the answer that I need to give myself every single time is this person sitting in front of me. Who is the most important person in this world right now? This child, this female, this lady, this man. When I internally start giving that much of importance or weightage or value to some person, it becomes very, very easy for me just to sit and allow that person to take some space, to just be. शायद घर में हमें सबको ना ऐसी स्पेस ही नहीं मिलती कि जहाँ हम सिर्फ बैठते हैं. तुरंत 4 लोग आएंगे, ऐसा क्यों बैठा है, क्या हुआ? अरे भाई, can't I just sit for a while? So these two things probably I can say from my experience, that let me not talk too much. And secondly, if I am not talking, allowing that person whole of the space and the respect that that person deserves. खून भी कर दिया हो किसी का तो भी आई एम नॉट देयर टू जज करने के लिए जुडिशियरी है. आई जस्ट एम देयर टू डू व्हाट आई नीड टू डू. सर अनम्यूट करेंगे?
That's an interesting question that has come up. What
Yes.
if the question that the client says that I have to remain quiet? Better of it. Why are you wasting my time? How to handle this then?
ओके. सो यस, ऑफ कोर्स मेरे पास सर ऐसे आए हैं 1-2 क्लाइंट्स जिनको बात ही नहीं करनी थी. एंड हियर मे बी माय अप्रोच यू माइट नॉट फील करेक्ट और व्हाटएवर, बट आई एम जस्ट शेयरिंग व्हाट आई डू इन माय पर्सनल प्रैक्टिस. I give the client a couple of minutes to sit. I just try to give them this side of the story, ki ye perspective hai that whenever you need, wherever you feel comfortable or like talking, you are welcome here. ये सब होने के बाद अपनी तरफ से मैंने सब टाइम, स्पेस, रिस्पेक्ट, एक्सेप्टेंस देके भी if the child is not comfortable or not willing to open up, I accept it कि yes, I am not God. मेरे पास सब तालों की चाबी नहीं है. So I at times ये जो हम सबको बताते हैं ना that we know where we need to stop. So उसके लिए ना बहुत खींचातानी करके, खुद को परेशान करके या क्लाइंट को खींचतान के लाने में कोई पॉइंट नहीं. I say okay, I respect your wish. Please note one thing, that if in case you need to talk to somebody, I'm always here. I let the client go and I start working on with the parents. In my personal experience, पेरेंट्स के साथ जब काम करते हैं तो एडोलेसेंट तक पहुंचने के लिए, एडोलेसेंट को अपने पास लाने के लिए इट इज अ मच मोर इफेक्टिव वे. कि उनको दिखता है कि पेरेंट्स में कुछ चेंज होता है, फिर दैट इज अ बेटर वे टू रीच टू दैट चाइल्ड रादर देन फोर्सिंग ऑन कि ना अभी के अभी तू सब बोल और मैं ठीक कर देता हूँ.
Thank you. Aleem.
Yeah, what to do with the parents जो ला रहे हैं हमारे पास and they say कि इसको सुधारना है, इसके अंदर ये समस्या है, and they are sort of trying to straighten the child. तो how do you handle such issues और इस तरह के कैसे practically cases आते हैं?
Sir, basically 70% of the parents ऐसे ही लाते हैं. अगर adolescent को लाया कि इसमें प्रॉब्लम है और उसको ठीक कर दो, I generally am very very honest with them कि इसको टाइम लगेगा. So if you are expecting कि 2 सेशन करोगे और ये ना 180 डिग्री चेंज होगा, it's not the case. That is point number 1. Point number 2, I ask them to take their personal ownership. It's a process where you will have to pay an equal contribution or rather a more उसको greater contribution in this process as compared to your child. थर्ड विल बी कि ये प्रोसेस स्लो जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि चेंज दिखा तो परमानेंट दिख गया या आगे कुछ लगेगा नहीं. हो सकता है आपको बाहर ल्यूक्रेटिव कुछ ऐसे लोग दिखे जो आपको बोले कि नहीं मैं एक इसमें ठीक कर दूंगा, यू आर ओपन टू गो देयर। जितना मैं ट्रांसपेरेंट रहती हूँ ना फर्स्ट इसमें, हो सकता है कि क्लाइंट्स उस दिन निकल जाए और दे वोंट टर्न अप फॉर 6 months, बट आई कैन टेक से दिस विथ 100% कॉन्फिडेंस कि वो 4 जगह जाएंगे और वो फिर वापस मेरे ही पास आएंगे, चाहे 6 महीने बाद आएंगे चाहे 8 महीने बाद आएंगे, बिकॉज बाकी जगह वो ये एक्सपीरियंस करेंगे कि झूठ बोलते हैं, रिजल्ट्स देते ही नहीं है। सो लेट मी नॉट फॉल इनटू दैट ट्रैप कि ना हाँ हाँ ठीक हो जाएगा या बच्चे में यही प्रॉब्लम है, लेट मी नॉट यूज देयर लैंग्वेज और फॉल इनटू द ट्रैप ऑफ देयर लैंग्वेज। लेट मी बी वेरी वेरी क्लियर ऑन माय विजन, माय गोल एज वेल एज माय मेथोडोलॉजी। दिस इज व्हाट आई डू। बहुत से पेरेंट्स को ऐसा लगता है कि हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे, ये डॉक्टर ने ठीक कर देना चाहिए। आई नीड टू टेल देम राइट इन द फर्स्ट मीटिंग, मेरा कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन 5% है, आपका कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन 70% है और बच्चे का कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन 25% है। सो लेट मी स्टार्ट वर्किंग विथ यू फर्स्ट, देन द चाइल्ड। सो इफ आई एम वेरी वेरी क्लियर, हो सकता है शुरुआत में वो थोड़े उनको लगे कि यार ये ऐसे कैसे, बट इवेंचुअली वी एडल्ट्स नो, हम प्रोसेस करते हैं कि जो सिर्फ दिखता है ग्लैमरस वही ठीक है, या कौन बंदा है ना जिसको सही तरीका पता है। सो we just need to be transparent and very very open and honest with what we are going to do with their kid.
So
very
Yeah,
true.
if I can come here, Doctor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please.
Yeah, I mean, while appreciating both Dr. Sukuda and Dr. Valerie for demonstrating such a wonderful, session, and then showing so many, practical points which are very essential while interacting with, adolescents in our day-to-day practice. I would like to, uh, you know, you know, cull out some important points from what Dr. Sukida has done, and then probably I would like to add one or two, probably views from my own side with my experience. Madam very clearly demonstrated the kind of, the patience which we need to maintain, honesty which we need to maintain while interacting with the adolescents, especially when they come for the first time, how to develop the rapport with them, and then how to make them talk to us, etc., etc. She very beautifully demonstrated, and actually talking about all these things theoretically is very easy, but then demonstrating is very difficult, and Madam has taken up that challenging task, and I should congratulate her for that. Dr. Amrit was also asking one important question. I thought I can add on to what Dr. Sukida has said. Very often you do find some adolescent who come to you without his or her willing. I mean, most of the time they are brought by the parents. So how do we deal with them? I mean, one or two simple tips, tactics which we use in our practice is that, the child comes and then both the parents comes inside the room. And most of the time you will be able to make out from the very first sight itself whether this guy is going to cooperate with you or not. What I do sometimes is that, I play a trick there. I just make the parents to go out initially. The moment they come in and they start saying, "Ye hamara bacha bigad gaya sir," बोल के शुरू कर देते हैं. What I said, please hold on. I would like to talk to this guy first. May I request you both to stay outside? I'll make the boy to sit in front of me. I will wait till these two people go out. I'll close the door, and then I'll make sure that there is a space for this boy. By doing this, mostly I'm winning the heart of this guy so that he may speak to me. This is one thing which I do. The second tip, what I can give is that sometimes in this kind of situations, the moment I realize that, the boy is brought, the girl is brought to me, right? Let's say, now the moment I realize, and then the girl is sitting at the corner of the seat, and then, making faces and not really, making eye contact. What I do is that I will ask mother, I realize that you have brought this girl to me without informing her and taking her consent. I am upset with this. I do not know whether this child is liking it or not, but I am not liking it. Henceforth, whenever you are coming to me, please inform her and then bring her. This kind of approach is sometimes we may have to, use in our practice so that we will be having adolescent coming to us again and again. And some other important things which we practice in our practice is, basically keep giving them the examples, feedbacks, recollecting what all you have been saying for a period of time, which madam has been, demonstrating in her practice. She beautifully demonstrated it. And then actually, uh, probably certain things are very essential to ask an adolescent. Many a times we think that we shouldn't ask about the sexuality. How do we ask? I am of the opinion that you should ask. There are certain things you should ask to the adolescent in private. Probably something to do with the suicidality, something to do with the sexuality. I do ask. I do very categorically make a mention and then statement, ask them to tell about their opinion. Sometimes adolescent like you come to me and talk about some thoughts of suicidality. Did you have such kind of experience in your recent past? If yes, please explain to me. This kind of straightforward questions have to be, framed and make them, speak and talk about those things. And I absolutely, wholeheartedly congratulate the Thursday musings for such a wonderful discussion which we are having today. I feel I am very fortunate to listen to Dr. Sukuna. Thank you for this, at least.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Over to Dr. Sinha if she has to say something.
The same thoughts, I echo the same thoughts, Sai sir. Pleasure was all mine, observing the practical illustrations which we were having. And I must say that the rapport building is the most important essence when we are dealing, like this is the most important part when we are dealing with adolescent. This is very important, that interviewing the child privately, like, so that gives them a confidence that we are not with the parents. Otherwise they think that I am all bad, and like doctor is also there's something bad because of which I have been brought here. One quote I would like to say is that the greatest good you can do to a person, it's not always sharing your own riches, but also revealing him or his own. So as an adolescent, we need to empower them also, that, okay, you have these qualities and we appreciate that. So why do you think that you are all wrong always? Because adolescence is a very sensitive phase. It's a very vulnerable phase. And here, the adolescent, like it is a conjugate between your childhood and adulthood. So people, they experiment, they many a times they go wrong also. And many a times they have that habit of breaking rules. And it is like they want to experience independence. So these things are there, and as a parent, we must know how to differentiate that when it is a problem behavior and when it is occasional thing. So if it is going on continuously, and if we are finding that the child or adolescent to be troubled, then we need to seek professional help and taking that child into confidence. That is very important. So I think I would agree with Om Sai sir, whatever he brought about. And yes, thank you, Dr. Sukhida. It was a pleasure watching you. And also musings. I think musings, it has been an innovative platform for all of us. We often get, as a psychiatrist, we often get stuck on these issues which needs to be discussed among us. And we have stalwarts of psychiatry here. We can see Mohan Das sir, Gautam Saha sir join, and many seniors. Tufan sir is there. So we learn from the discussions as well. So thank you for having me on board today.
Alim is also a senior. You should
Yeah, Alim sir, Amrit sir, obviously.
There is a question in the chat box. There is a question in the chat box. What if a child says, or suppose this child, the adolescent that you were talking, all my friends smoke and drink. So why this issue? I only do it occasionally. And the parents are panic stricken. This is a question from Dr. Tarun.
Okay, so again, a very common thing that adolescents tend to justify their behaviors under the pretext of what their peers are doing, or they tend to normalize things. So again, whatever they say, the first and foremost things that is expected from us as an expert professional here is to listen them out without interrupting, because this is what they're experiencing in their houses. That the moment they say सब करते तो तू भी करेगा क्या, तो सब कुएं में कूद गए तो तू भी कूदेगा क्या, and this kind of a generally direction is taken by adults. So here, first and foremost thing is to mirror the emotions of the child. That yes, whenever all of your peers are doing it, it becomes very, very difficult for any person to just cut yourself out of that group, cut out of that team. And that's when we also feel that what is wrong in trying it once. So it's not only about trying it once, or again, categorizing it into black and white, as I just gave it in the demo also, that we need to talk about their cognitive distortions here. So instead, what if we see that whether this thing is healthy or unhealthy? Now, if you are saying that, okay, I tried it because I wanted to, and I did it once with my friends. Now that I have tried it, I know what it is, and I find that there is no thrill in it. Now you have a choice. Okay. Now you have a choice whether you'll continue it or you'll stop it. Whether next time your friends try to pressurize you, what would you say? So here you are the deciding person. You are the most important person, and you have the steering wheel in your hands. So first is empowering them rather than blaming them that you are at fault. Second is not jumping onto the judgment as and looking at them as if they are an addict already. काफी बार ये होता है ना कि पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं एंड वी जस्ट बाय इट कि हाँ ये तो ना सालों से स्मोक कर रहा है, स्मोक पता नहीं क्या क्या कर रहा है. So it's a profession which at times pushes us into it because we see these cases very, very frequently. So let's not fall into that trap. Let us look at that person as a very, very different and unique individual. Third thing, let me say, I may talk to that child is I have this habit of sharing a lot of stories with my young clients. So एक story मैं जो client को बताऊंगी is दो दोस्त ना एक बार में बैठे थे. So two guys were sitting in a bar and they were having drinks. When one friend says to the other that you know what, it only takes one drink to get me drunk. तो दूसरा बोलता है what? Only one drink to get you drunk. So बोलता है हाँ. And you know what? It's usually the seventh one. So adolescents का भी ऐसे ही कुछ रहता है ना कि सातवें ड्रिंक से मुझे चढ़ जाती है. They don't consider the earlier 6 ones. So what I would like to tell this child is the decision of the first drink is taken by you, your intellect. But the decision of the second drink is not taken by you or your intellect. It is taken by the alcohol present in your system. So it's not about, trying out one puff of smoke or trying out wine or something. It's about you become a slave to somebody or you make that something your slave. So the more perspectives I can add here, I actually trigger the thinking of that adolescent. Now, that adolescent might not show change कि हाँ हाँ आपने क्या ज्ञान दे दिया. मेरा वो एजेंडा भी नहीं है कि वो इम्प्रेस हो जाए या वो चेंज के लिए एकदम रेडी हो जाए. My agenda is very, very simple to put in seeds. चाहे वो 2 वीक्स के बाद जर्मिनेट हो, चाहे 2 मंथ्स के बाद जर्मिनेट हो, बच्चों के दिमाग से बातें जाती नहीं है. So वो 15 मिनट when that child is with me, I will talk with that child regarding 3 or 4 things that the child will take home with her or him. And whenever time will come, again, it's a matter of experience that children also know whom to approach, when to approach, or what to do when they are in actual trouble. So that's something from my side.
Yeah, if I can add here, I think in such circumstances, when they take the example and they say that, my friends are consuming it, and if I consume, what's wrong in it, and why my parents are making big fuss of it. What I sometimes do is this, probably 1 or 2 additional things what Dr. Sukuda has said is probably we can give some, age appropriate statistical data to them. Like, you have, let's say 100 people. Out of 100 people, how many will take? If this much of people will take it, how many of them will have problem? And if this many people are having problem, what is described as a condition, disorder? You try to take them into a sort of a medical model and explain them that you smoke. what goes into you. Is this, the smoke goes or nicotine goes? And if it nicotine, where does it go and where does it act? If you can try to give them the medical model and explain them what are the various consequences which takes place, probably we can try to help them, I suppose.
Another thing, sir, just like practically, like I just saw in the chat box, there was a question on relationship issues. So it's very important that as a parent, we need to be a friend kinds to our children. This is often said rather done. So many a times when patients come, I do ask them that, okay, you had this feeling for a guy or somebody proposed, and then they start feeling, okay, am I bad? Is it my fault that these things are happening to me? And they don't open up to their parents. So it's very important to make them understand that you can open. I just ask them, do you think your mother, she was born at like 40 years kinds? No, she has gone through that phase. सीधे वो बुढ़ा वाला phase नहीं था. Maybe she was young and she might have also gone through the same phase, and she might also have had such kind of relationship or issues. So you can open up to them. That is very important, that we the adolescents, they feel empowered to be able to speak up about whatever is going on in their lives. So that is
Ma'am, just one thing I would like to add here. Generally, if this is done without talking to the parents, it might backfire. So then we need to ensure that we talk with the parents first, that how to be open to your child when she tries to share with you about this sensitive subject. What is the importance of not labeling, being non-judgmental, giving your child a patient ear without, the urge of talking. So unless until the parents are prepped, it might come as bombs on them and they might just go into the reaction mode. So just a thought.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
I think that is very important. Parents being prepped, because they are after your skin. Get my child on the right track. Sugdha, I think we have not been able to cover most of the things, half of the things. So we need a session again from you.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
I would also like
And
if you
yeah.
could suggest me, sir, whatever the part, that what is the theme or what is the one area we can take up for next session.
Sure. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss this. Any comments regarding this? Please put in the chat box. Mohan Das sir is there. Sir, any pearls of wisdom from your side?
No, first of all, hats off to the Thursday musings, Tofan, yourself, and Amrit, and the chairperson, Om Sai, and Niska, if I spell it correctly. It was a wonderful exposition by Sukhada. So congratulations. As you have rightly told, it is the beginning of the story. It is only a beginning of story. Where will it end? I think one session or two sessions is not going to end anyway. Now, what I observed today is, number one, she has demonstrated. I don't want to use the client-centered model. Okay, today it's client, the other one it will be different. So today's this thing, you try to establish a rapport with the client, and you have reasonably succeeded. Towards the end, you could get empathetic approach, because towards the end, your client twice showed smile. So that is the beginning of empathy. And basically your explanations, that is the usual need for a therapist. You have to respect the client, you have to be humble. And later on, you have told the examples. I don't know, you like automobiles or automotive because of a mechanic style, then engine, etc. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But the good thing that I have noted, what will be a personality of a therapist when they deal with? especially your smile, had already triggered a little bit mirror neuron effect to the client. That is why she started smiling later on. Secondly, you went with her, your emotion, you went isomorphic with her issues. That is the classical empathy. Then only it has become empathy. It was isomorphic with her emotions. So these are the beginning of the issue. But the problem will come when the parents come. You parenting, parental traits, personality traits. I don't want to talk about personality trait of the therapist. Sorry. I do have some literature which I don't want to tell you now. Personality of the parents, the traits, and most important for a therapist is how to deal with the new generation. This is the Z generation. This generation is entirely different from my generation. So I have to orient myself when we do this. Yes, also, you have to break some of the cultural barriers sometimes with the parents also, rather than the orthodoxy. Not that, what you call, very softly. You can use there also examples. You can, as you have right example, some statistics as on has told, but it should not be just like a teaching of literature, but soft words, examples. And you have to ask the question to the client, what do you think? What is your opinion? Suppose you are in my position, how you deal with it? I usually ask this question also. But the smile is the most important quality. Smile. And you have got, and as you are told, patience. Patience, you have to have patience. That is why time. That is why without somebody's consent, you cannot, you take your own time, as Westerners say. Whenever you feel okay, you come to me. And you told your last closing comments with the clients were okay. If in case of any difficulty, please get an appointment and you just note it down and please ask for help. I will be there with you. Your word you have used is, I will be there to help you. That is the word you have used. These are all soothing words. Now, I was basically observing the way your facial expression changes, your limb movement changes. I was observing the client's facial expression and how she sits and she moves. I was observing how you move. These were the things that I was observing. Anyway, it was an excellent initial session. And the questions people have answered, I think that was not the right time to answer it because it was only an initial session. So these type of questions will come when you have got a selective topic, that is a case vignette or a case, I mean, those type of things. You can have not one answer, you can have alternatives. So you can have, what do you think? These are some of the models. What is the option that you could type? Initially, you told there are two sides to the coin, and good and bad. I want to just get good things about you. The parents were talking good. See, always in a therapy, focus on the good things rather than the negative things. These are some of the basic teachings or learning curves in any psychotherapeutic relationship. But I used little bit neural entrepreneur because I am fond of it. How to get a rapport, even our mental status, how you establish what happens in the client's brain, your brain, when it starts empathizing. That this, I do have my own explanation. Anyway, I am not going to give a lecture because Alim Siddiqui might sleep. Thank you very much. And Amar, it was a wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Tufan, sir.
Sir, you also end the session, if possible.
Thank you. So it has been a wonderful session. And as we proceed, and there are certain pertinent issues we have to address to. And I don't want to overburden this session with these queries. Number one, how to manage with this suicidal pace adolescents that are brought by the parents. We cannot tell maybe that you come when you like after 15 days, 20 days. Listen messages. And there is another common thing that parents bring their adolescents. It is a relatively relational issue. The parents come with the hope that you are going to terminate that relationship. But the thing is that parents as well as the adolescent or child is in a great distress because of this difference. And this is not, this is quite common. Parents come with the problem, parents have their prescription, parents want you to be the moderator. And another third important thing is that the Ballari enacted for a patient, and Dr. Ballari knows our science pretty well, and we could establish rapport with her within 40 minutes, which may not be possible in most of the cases. How long one can stretch the first interview to establish rapport? Maybe first interview is not possible, you'll have to postpone to the, but how long you can stretch it? Not that all patients will be either cooperative or either reluctant to participate. Many people will be at the middle. They will speak to you, they'll talk to you, but they won't submit, they won't express, they won't open up. How long you can stretch the first interview? These are three questions. You may not answer now, but please keep it in mind when we come for the next session. Or if you have got brief answers, you give. But your demonstration has been very well as the initial interview, as rightly observed by Dr. Mohandas. It was a great initial interview, giving the information about the aspects that has to be covered up, attempted to be covered up. Thank you, Sukha. You have been wonderful. At these points, next session. And with this, I thank our chairpersons, Dr. Om Sai and Dr. Niska, and my dear friend who has provided a lot of intellectual inputs, Dr. Mohandas, as well as all participants, Current Pharma, and all the team behind this. Thank you very much. And the final vote of thanks on behalf of IPS Odisha State Branch will be given by Dr. Amrit Patujoshi. You are here?
I think we have to give it. He has just dropped out.
So I also express our gratitude to IPS Odisha State Branch, who have been generous enough to allow us to plan and execute Thursday Beijing as you like, with Dr. Amrit, Dr. Adin, and of course I am there. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Sukha. It was a wonderful session. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to the next one. Om Sai, sir. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar, sir. Thank you very much for giving opportunity and considering me for this particular session. Thank
Sir,
you.
we are after you for a session also.
Your inputs have been quite good, quite intelligible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Niska, nice for coming.
Thank you, Niska, for brightening us up.
Okay, thank you. If I get
Thank you.
time, I will attend. Depends
you.
upon the time frame.
Thank you.
Because
Okay, we'll
how
get
many
you informed.
programs are there? I will try. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you everyone and good night. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Good night. Good night.
Right.